What's up? It's your boy RJ, and you're now tuned into the check-in. For 32 years, church every Sunday, every Wednesday, every Thursday, sometimes, a lot of times on Saturday, not to mention revivals and joy nights and rehearsals and you know what I mean? So it was almost like I had to redefine and kind of figure out who I was without the platform of playing in front of people. Who am I without this? You know what I mean?
Right.
And I can speed up to the end and say, now I feel like I'm the best version of myself
Wow.
not playing because I was in a routine, you know, so to speak. But like now, like I gotta love God on a whole nother level because I don't have strings to get me through. Now I could, you see the board in the back. I can hop on and do what I gotta do. But it caused me to like learn, like where I'm at in life now is like I'm in the Rosetta Stone version of my life right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm learning a couple of different languages of RJ.
Yeah.
In life, I'm learning a couple of flavors of RJ in relationship. I'm learning a couple of different flavors of RJ in ministry. And it does not have to be centered around my gift. I loved it in such an improper order that I started validating the things I knew clearly weren't right because I was gifted.
Wow.
I felt
Talk
like
a little bit more on that, man.
because I was so gifted, I felt like I could do what I want. I could say what I want.
Wow.
And I felt like you're not pastoring me anyways. All you want me for is my gift. And as long as I showed up on Sundays knowing had I been a little bit more mature, I probably should have sat myself down. You know what I mean? And that's another thing. We're always waiting on somebody to sit us down. Sometimes you got to sit yourself down.
Yeah. That's what it took for me, man. Like that's what it was.
Yeah.
Like loved. There was the thing is there was such a level and is like such a powerful level of the word, like the ministry.
Yeah.
At the church, right? Like, but if we're not experiencing it, that's the problem.
Yeah.
And what I realized was I couldn't hear
because I was playing.
because I was playing. I was in a position and like you had said, all of the administration and anything, all that stuff can be a distraction, a major distraction for you. And even prevent you from wanting to hear.
Yeah.
And like you said, I had to make the decision for myself to really sit myself down. Because it wouldn't have happened.
So wouldn't have. While I was playing people closer to heaven, I was moving further away.
Wow.
I was moving further away because the only thing me and God talked about was my gift.
Wow. Yo, that.
Notice I said the only thing we talked about. That means I didn't pray to hear him give me, wisdom in terms of how to navigate and use my gift. We only talked about the gift because it was almost like, and God is cool, and people that are mature will understand what I'm saying. But it was almost like God was like, you know what? Because I'll let you go through this season. If this is the only way I can get through to you, I'll use it. It is what it is.
He will. He'll use whatever he wants to use.
So
however he wants to use it.
The other piece to that though is that because our gift was what it was almost like the people around me, and maybe you can attest to this, didn't value me for me either. So the pastoring was lost, the leadership was lost, the wisdom was lost. And so now, not only, do you leave and depart an organization, but then it's like when you look back, it's like, really, what did I get from them other than a paycheck?
It's not that the things were bad. It's not that your gift was bad.
Yeah.
It's not that I can't even say that the leadership was bad or that the word was bad.
Yeah.
It was the order and what was the priority either for yourself or for the other party or for both. And when you realize like, there's a certain order for things. If my growth as a person or me being valued as a person has to remain a priority before my gift, then you're building a person. You're building a person. A gift can be taught.
Yeah.
To a certain extent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's something that can be
a gift can be perfected. Say that.
Perfected. That's well. A gift can be perfected, and other people can even draw to that gift when you realize it, right? So, but you have to have an identity before any of that.
Yeah.
And your identity, people have to see you as a person.
Yeah.
And see you as a soul. Like they have to see your soul.
Yeah.
Before they see your gift. And yeah.
So what happens when they don't? So again, and maybe you could speak to this as well, is so what were some of the challenges that you faced? I'm gonna say it this way. You can answer it the way you want to.
Yeah.
In feeling like for a lot of years in ministry, I pastored myself because of my gift. I'm not saying that I wanted to.
Right.
I'm looking back on the situation now and saying, but where was the real spiritual guidance?
One thing that I'm navigating now is like, even when you think about the idea of what being passionate is, right? That's something that's governing you, something that is teaching you.
Yeah.
And I felt like I let my emotions teach me sometimes.
Yeah.
I let my my desires teach me sometimes.
Yeah.
My own conviction teach me like things that I thought would work there. And it was only because I couldn't see it from the other perspective, right?
Yeah.
I had set myself up, or I can't even set myself. I was set up and also set myself up in certain situations to where whatever was pastoring me, was not what needed to be. And so yeah, it's all a matter of what you let. You can let whatever you want pastor you. You can let your desire. You can let social media pastor you. You can let the conversations with your friends pastor you.
Yeah.
So many different things. But as for what should, I felt as though I made other things a priority. In that moment of not feeling made a priority, I look at the idea of like pastoring. It can be anything. Whatever like really sits at the forefront of your life is what's pastoring you.
Yeah. I loved it in the wrong order,
Oh, yes.
You received ministry from a space that wasn't even ministry, social media. You know what I mean?
Right.
You received edification from a motivational speech or a motivational quote and not the text. You know what I mean? And so it just further validates why this is important, because the check-in keeps you accountable. The check-in offers a space and time, to really look back at a situation, at all its moving pieces, and say, how did I influence this or that negatively or positively?
Right.
And without check-ins, there's no way to really manage your own blind spots.
People only see a certain aspect of things, right? But even with my closest friends and those around me, I value and make it so important to be as vulnerable as I can.
That's it.
Because people will only see the space.
Yeah.
They won't see your story. They won't see anything unless you open up. And I really feel as though the enemy uses that as a way of like isolating, like the not to diminish depression or anything along those lines. Those are all very valid things, but they can be rooted in the idea of isolation.
Yeah.
Right. If you isolate yourself, if you isolate your thoughts, and there's no sense of accountability to really to lift you and say, or have somebody say, hey, yo, like, Aaron, I see you're going through this. Let's talk through this, or how can we get there? It will build up. Yeah. It will become an avalanche, and your isolation will actually like pull you to a place to where you don't need to be. And that's why there's so much power in being vulnerable, man. So I really do appreciate this.
So when did you know you needed to make a move? And I'll start off to give you a second to kind of like think that through. And and I'm being totally raw and transparent. This is the part that people don't talk about. Okay.
Right.
I knew I needed to make a move. All right. Don't unfriend me. All right.
Right. No.
I knew I needed to make a move and a transition in my life, because I was going through a very dark time in my life. I was at huge transitions, professionally, personally, huge transitions. Right. I knew I needed to make a move when literally to help cope with my stress and my anxiety and my depression.
Yeah.
I knew I needed to make a move when I was drunk playing and nobody noticed.
Oh man. Wow.
At
Thank
that
you
point,
for your vulnerability, man.
I knew,
y'all, that's profound, y'all.
I knew when nobody could tell that I was crying all night, when nobody could tell that I had drunk myself to sleep. And I thank God there was this one lady. I'm gonna tell you, there was one person that noticed, but it wasn't my leadership.
Wow.
The one person that noticed, because I was always that guy that showed up like 2 hours early, to set up the stems and set up the lights and make sure everything is working and all that good stuff. It was one person that noticed, and she only noticed because I was 5 minutes late to the 2 hours early. She said, "You've been coming here for X amount of years, and you're always here at 8 o'clock. Are you okay?" I said, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm good." She said, "No, are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah." She said, "No, you're not." And so we proceeded to talk. We proceeded to talk after church, and we just kind of like lifted what that looked like. But I knew then that if we pray before service starts and we believe God for miracles, signs, and wonders, and I declare and I decree and I prophesy X, Y, Z, you know what I mean? All of the things that make church, and you can't tell the person that serves you closely.
Come on, yo, come on, stay right there.
If you can't tell that something is not right,
sheesh, come on, man.
and you know, so
or you don't say anything.
You don't say,
or you don't,
yeah,
or you know, and you
don't say anything.